All right. This is my build test for the Project Boost module from the Unity 3D course on udemy.com that was created by Gamedev.tv. My version of this game has a couple of significant departures from the main coursework, but not so dramatically that the concept is really any different. I would say the main departure is I wanted to play around more with gravity and the concept of there being zero gravity and different states of gravity in different places, and just giving the different sensation to the player all in one level, like having to deal with the transition between the two. This is the second thing I ever did in Unity. Literally starting that class, the Unity 3D class was my first experience ever in Unity or coding with C# or any of that type of game dev. So I quickly realized I didn't know nearly enough to do the things that seemed kind of obvious in my head in terms of presenting things visually to the player. So we can already see here the way I ended up presenting the atmosphere of gravity or the pull of gravity to the player is this almost like oil slick that is revolving around a planet. It would have been nicer if I could have done some kind of visual warping effect or something. But at the time I did not know enough to do it. Also did not start in the proper pipeline, so there's just errors with lighting across the board with this entire thing. But second thing I ever did, and was certainly learning about the interface, the program itself, how to code, every little piece of it I had to learn about. So at some point you cut your losses. But I think out of all the stuff from that class, I could see myself coming back to this and really fleshing this out into something. This could really easily have fuel and cargo and pickups and damage and lives and other ships you unlock. It so easily could have all that. The fundamentals of what is being presented here, the actual game, the base game itself, is solid enough that it really is, and I've mentioned this in another video, it kind of is the crown jewel of that whole class in terms of presentation and ease of understanding for the player, and the immediate apparent ability for players to pick up the concept and make fun out of it with their own concepts is very apparent when you even go to their website and play some of the students' uploaded games. But anyway, so I will probably try to play through all the levels on this. I don't remember how many there are. There's probably between 4 and 7. And this was really just kind of testing, both building the actual game out to an executable and sharing with other people. So sending it to friends and seeing if they could play it and whatever. So there's some proof of concept stuff in here, but ultimately my version at this stage was called Monolith, and was this low poly worlds with these monoliths in between that create obstacles you kind of have to fly through. Yeah, but there was still certainly a lot to be learned about animation and whatever, but I guess we'll just check it out. So we have a little bit of instructions at the start, again, bare bones, just so that I can hand it off to somebody and they'd get the idea. We have our keys. You use your space bar for your main boosters, A, D, or left and right arrow for thrusters, left and right. Escape to get this menu back, shift escape to quit. For each level, we're going to try to reach the red platform and watch out for obstacles. Planets and black holes have gravity. We'll hold the space bar for a long time to escape the pull of gravity. This isn't really apparent in the game visually, but it's the feeling works, minimum from my perspective, and from anybody that I've handed it off to, like the feeling is there. I wanted it to feel like you were escaping gravity. Like it was difficult at the first outset. You're spending, the idea would to add fuel. Maybe you refuel at a station up in the atmosphere, outside of the atmosphere in space. But you have to expend a lot of energy to get out. And then once you're out, it's kind of a free for all because there's no gravity out there. So to slow down, there is no reverse. You need to turn the ship in the opposite direction and fire the main boosters. And then there's cheat keys, just so people could keep playing around, which we may end up using the invincible. I think one level on here is particularly difficult. It's like, so we may just remember Control C, and Control R. All right. Escape, toggle this menu. There we go. All right. So let's try to get to the other side. Yeah, and so it takes a little bit of effort to get out of the atmosphere, but once I'm out here, there is no gravity, and there is still, I've tried a bunch of different versions of this, there still is friction applied to the player object out here because it is really unwieldy to use a keyboard and handle actuating thrusters yourself to straighten yourself out. So, you hit the thrusters and there's enough friction to just slow you down without having to fire thrusters in the opposite direction. I personally found it fun having it be insane, but I also like playing Elite Dangerous without any aids on whatsoever. And I absolutely could see a complex or painfully difficult space game coming out of me in the future. But yeah, so there's a bunch of friction for sure. But there still is that sense, like once you're out here, you push something. There's more friction laterally from these thrusters than there are from the boosters that is applied to the player. When you fire these boosters forward, you can get some nice forward momentum going. And again, there you like... I think the saying comes from The Expanse, the idea of flip and burn, which I liked a lot. The idea that, like, yeah, you wouldn't have... If you took 4 massive boosters to get you off of a planet, to slow down all of that mass, you would need the same amount in the other direction, and the best way to do that would be just turn around and fire. But if I go down to the planet and I break this little oil slick, I start immediately getting pulled in, and it's not really visually showing that well, but I can feel it as a player. Like you can really sense that the reaction between the ship and my pushing this button, and certainly you can tell visually by watching because of how long I have to hold down the boosters that there is certainly an amount of gravity. Adding this on this other planet, I think on every single one of them, I wanted to make the where you have to go more obvious, so I added this satellite, but that really was a mistake that needs to come out because it just looks like something you're going to crash into, and it's not interactable at all. It has no collision. But yeah, we'll get ourselves down. We'll break the gravity well of this planet, and we'll let that pull us down, and we'll flip around and just fight against gravity a little bit. Maybe aim ourselves out a little better, and land. And you get a cute little finishing sound. And so with this one here, can we see my cursor? Yes, we can. We'll break gravity, but then when we get down here, we're going to actually break into it again. And it probably makes sense, but you would learn by doing, certainly, that if you tried to fire off directly into this side, which, maybe I'll just try, you're expending most of your energy laterally, and you're just going to get, pulled into the, went underneath the camera. You're just going to get pulled into the planet as you're expending your energy this way. The pull is harder this way, and so it just pulls you in. So you do need to break out of gravity, and you can get a little slick with it, for sure. You don't need to go as far as I'm going to break out, but it is fun to fire off as far as you can go and then flip around. But yeah, I start to get pulled in, and so I have to fire, and I'm going a little I overcorrect, and we're going to try to get through. Wow, I've never gotten through that quickly. That one's actually a real pain in the butt. If you don't time that right, those have a weird timing to them. It gets a little irritating trying to get through there. I thought I was going to do that a couple of times. Oops. There's much less gravity on this moon. So, yeah, and you also lose collision. Once you successfully land here, you lose collision. There's like a ton of little things I'd have to clean up before this became worth doing anything with, putting anywhere for anyone to ever try. Like, the lighting is all. I'd have to rebuild it using the right pipeline. I messed that up royally, not knowing anything about it. So the lighting's messed up here. But once you touch that platform, you're invincible. So you can like land. You can literally you can slam into it 1,000 miles an hour. You can just graze it and win, and then the ship can fall off and land on the planet where it should have exploded and everyone aboard has died. This also shares the same. This ship shares the same kind of like style cues as the ship from Argon Assault, which came a little later. This was built in Unity using primitives, and then I took a Blender class, and I think I would come back to this and make this ship probably a module of that ship, or like some kind of disconnect from that ship, or vice versa. Maybe this like docks into the thrusters on that ship. Because I think I mentioned in the Zombie Runner gameplay in another video that I would like to narratively tie all of the modules together as like a thesis project, so to speak. These things jiggling are more just to be worrisome for the player. They're not really actually that hard to get past. All right, and so here we see our first black hole. This was my not knowing too much about graphical effects and how to make them work, my attempt at a black hole. And so this thing, initially before I had these atmospheric, these like oil slick effects, the only thing showing you that this was in any way dangerous were these two orange things. But I kept them because I kind of thought they were cool. They're like some kind of anomaly. But there is really light gravity inside of this first ring. But this is almost a point of no return. This is like the most serious point of gravity. And anywhere past these orange balls is absolutely an event horizon point of no return. You are not getting out of that. And so just kind of signifying to the player that there is... there we go. Yeah, so just signifying to the player that there's like an extra level of complexity there. Which, maybe the spinning things and all that together does that. Oh, there we go. Oh, what? Oh my god, I got out. I've never had that happen before. That was like slingshot. I'm gonna die there. There we go. I like slingshotted. Or I don't know, maybe I turned down the gravity? I don't know. That should be absolutely like pushing it if you break the second seal. Yeah, so these are a bit hard. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I like that, like, what I wanted a lot of that, like, not necessarily like quick twitch panicking, but like when you do panic, that you still have to like think about getting yourself spun around to point in the right direction. Like there's something about that kind of gameplay and just like futzing around with different levels that I had made, like the like last second saving yourself before you smash into something was very satisfying. Yeah, and I certainly would want to make something that was a little more accurate in terms of landing. Even in just, you shouldn't be able to slam into the pad as hard as you possibly can and just drop 1,000. But you should have to have a ginger, delicate landing to have a success condition. Panic and pull away from that. Again, too scared. Oh God! All right, we're going for it now. Yes, of course. Oh all that time. Alright, I don't want to skip this level until at least I get past the easy part. Line ourselves up. And nope. Yeah. Maybe this gets cut out. Maybe it gets cut out and then I land on the pad and I go, first try! No, come on. Gotta remember the points of finesse. That's the other thing too, is like the panic state of like, you don't need to panic. Like, it's just, all right, calm down. Just calm down and just go through when it's safe. And stay off. Yeah, there we go. Stay off. No. Gentle motions. Oh, yes. Oh, you know what I'm getting? Gravity from the black hole beyond the oil slick. I can feel it. It's weird. Like, I say you can't feel it, but there's like some like, for how much input I give versus what I see happening, you can feel it. Like you can kind of get a sense of like, yep, gravity's pulling me. All right, I don't know that I'm going to get through this part at all. And I'm already like delicately, gingerly. If I don't get through this, I'm going to turn on invincibility, which I think is Control C. Nope. There it is. All right, we're going. Invincible. That would have been... Oh, what happens there? Oh, boy. I've never been force-clipped through something. I was like, what is going to... Is that going to really glitch it? Well, now we can be reckless. If I... Uh-oh. I have to turn off of... yeah. Wonderful. What is... Escape. We'll just go next level. This... Was that next level? Control period. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. So this... I was experimenting with different cameras, and this is using Cinemachine, and the Herculean effort I put in. If I end up doing reviews or any kind of like roundups of each module, I'm going to go into this in depth. The effort that I put into this effect, my goodness, and the fact that it wasn't a given. Like, so much that Cinemachine does, like, what do you mean it doesn't do this? So, when I start applying thrust and achieve more velocity, my camera is going to zoom out, showing me more of the world around me. And that is not a baked-in feature of Cinemachine on this plane, on this 2D plane. It is a 3D camera package, and it is it can do that zoom effect. Oh, no. It can do that zoom effect, but it wants to do it on the axis that you would have if you were following behind a car. So the car can get a little faster and it can zoom out. But I wanted it here. So I ended up making an invisible cube, like a little camera rig. Three invisible cubes, a start point, an end point, and then a cube that travels between cubes that exist inside of this ship at the farthest point, one inside the ship, one at the farthest point away from the ship that I want the camera to go, and then one where the camera is, the actual point the camera sits on. And then writing code that lets the cubes flow from one to the other as both the spacebar is pressed and velocity increases. And that took a long time to figure out. It was very difficult to get Cinemachine to behave correctly, no matter what, even with the rig and figuring out the programming and like the coding to get the blocks to move smoothly and how much. And still didn't even get that right. Like there's too much on hitting the spacebar and less focus on velocity, the balance is kind of wrong. I can feel that just by playing this. Like I'm hitting spacebar and I haven't gone anywhere, and I'm already backing out a little too much and then pulling in too slowly. I'm already seeing that's annoying me. This was just grabbing assets off the asset store and just imagining what this would look like if it wasn't just monolith stuff, just like, nondescript cubes. Which I thought, that is what I thought worked with this camera more than those monolith style obstacles. Pardon me. Oh boy, not gonna make it. Didn't make it. I never finished this because this was super proof of concept, but I just kind of put it in there so everybody can get a sense of, like, at least get some feedback in here if people thought that the other one was not worth exploring. All of these planets have gravity, kind of proportionate to their size-ish. Like, maybe that one doesn't. I don't know. Sure doesn't feel like it does. Not sure where I'm supposed to be going. Oh, I also added the mini map. I forgot about that. I don't think I'm supposed to go this way. Yeah, I don't think that goes anywhere. This just goes out into space. Yay! On a journey. Now we'll turn around. Yeah, this is dangerous because I can't see anything. I got the mini map, but I'm going to do exactly that, which is plow headlong into a black hole, which, was kind of some of what I wanted to do with this game. Was have exactly that. What just happened right there is like some of my favorite parts of this game, is like that panicked, spinny motion. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Yes. Yay, and I think that's the last level. And it was. And so then it cycles around. Yeah, so I never finished it, but this certainly was the most fun, most enthralling thing to work on from the Gamedev.tv classes. And, as I had mentioned, was also one where you can just go play any of the students' coursework, and they're all good. They're all like, they're either right in line with what the teacher had shown and said to do, or if they're not, they've added their own thing to it. They've done their own spin on it, and like there's unique things, whether it's effects, graphical effects, or animations, or sound effects, or backgrounds, or maybe concepts for how the game actually gets played. They're all really, really good and really fun. If I ever do end up poking through all the coursework and doing any kind of roundup, I'll probably explore that Cinemachine coding and just solution, and also look at the gravity coding, which I did not create. I found it online. I found it on a YouTube channel, which had it couldn't have more than like 16 views. It wasn't like really highly viewed, but the guy just showed how to write code to turn off gravity in Unity and then have singular points in space have their own gravity that you can then set the how anything would interact with it and how it would be affected. So as long as it has a rigid body, it's affected by gravity. But anyway, so that was my project boost, which I think is called Monolith for my game. And I don't know, maybe someday I'll pick it up again and tweak it closer to finishing, or at least to a point where other people can play it if anybody were so interested. But yeah, so that's it.